Every day I wait, feel like my life on the line. Jungle in these streets, speak the streets are on the line. Hustle to increase, put it all on the line. House to spouse, family, freedom, walking yards on the line. Every day I wait, feel like my life on the line. Jungle in these streets, speak the streets are on the line. Hustle to increase, put it all on the line. House to spouse, family, freedom, walking yards on the line. Every day on the line. Every day.
We also just don't talk about the ruckus and the madness in the society. We also talk about reality and how to advance. And today, this is one of the episodes we will be speaking about how to advance as a grown person in society today. So, can you let the people, viewers, know who you are, what you do, et cetera, et cetera?
Sure can. I'm Darryl Bolton. I'm a mortgage and a real estate broker. What that basically means is somebody who's looking to buy a house or somebody who's looking to sell a house, you go to a real estate agent or a real estate broker. Mm-hmm. Somebody who needs a loan, you go to either a bank to get your loan or a mortgage broker. Come to me. If you go to a bank, you get a high price. You go to a broker like me is going to find you the best loan with the best terms and the best rate.
Okay. So, for all the viewers and listeners who not aware of none of this, and those who are aware of it, today's going to be a big learning lesson for all viewers and listeners today. It's going to change your life. I'm a believer in what he's talking about. I'm in the process of doing the things he said that need to be done, so I can get to the next level and go to the next level and go to the next level.
There you go.
So, if somebody want to purchase a house, what is the initial steps of purchasing a home?
The first step is everybody should know what their credit looks like. You know, so you want to have a good credit score. You can get a house or you can get a loan even with a bad credit score. Mm-hmm. But the better your credit, the better your terms, the better your interest rate, the lower your payment. So the first step, I tell everybody, if you don't know what your credit is, find out what your credit is. One of the easiest ways is absolutely free, is to go to creditkarma.com. You can set up a free account. It'll show you what your TransUnion score is and what your Equifax score is. I should break it down a little more. You have three bureaus, major bureaus, that report credit. You got Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. Right. If you go to creditkarma.com, set up a free account, you'll be able to look at your TransUnion and your Equifax free anytime you want to look at it. It'll show you what's on your credit. A lot of people don't know. You might have something on there that's not yours. You go on Credit Karma, you see it, you reach out to the bureau and get it taken out. Experian has their own little setup, so you'd have to go to Experian.com to look at your Experian credit. All of them are free. Don't let anybody charge you. There are a lot of companies out there that try to charge you to look at your credit. You don't have to do that. You don't have to pay. So that's the first step. You want to have at least a 680 credit score.
Ooh, that was 680.
At least a 680. 700 or higher, you're getting the best rates. But at least a 680 and you're good. But to be honest with you, you can get a loan with a 500 credit score.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, you can.
So, and the time you've been doing this business, how many people have those outstanding credit ratings? As far as the sevens, how many people that you have dealt with?
You know,
and the percentage rate.
You can get the actual percentage on Credit Karma. I don't have it in my head, but I'll tell you, most of the people that come to me because they didn't get a loan somewhere else. They went to Bank of America, and Bank of America told them to get out, so they found a broker, and that's what I do. You have bad credit, I help you get your credit where it needs to be. That's what a good broker should be doing for you. We'll look at your credit and say, okay, you have this, you have that. If you move this around and move that around, pay this down a little bit, your credit's going to go up 5 points, 6 points. To answer your original question, most of the people I deal with are between 6 and 7, somewhere between 6 and 7. But there are a lot of people out there. I work with my son. My son does commercial loans. These are people who have units, or even if it's single family houses, they have 3 or 4 single family houses, and they're buying. They're all in the sevens. I saw one yesterday, 785. So they're out there, and to get good credit, all you have to do is just make sure you pay your bills on time. That's it. Once you get a late, it's going to drop you down, and it's going to stay there for 3 or 4 years and keep you down.
You
Right.
get the bottoms. Yeah, I got
So,
that.
what you were saying, those steps, is there an age limit that you have to be? You know, like drink, you got to be 21 to buy a house. You got to do this. If I'm coming to you, say I'm 18, parents left me money, grandma, whatever. I have the funds in the bank, and I come to you and say, hey, I'm trying to buy a house.
It's really about the means. So if I'm going to provide you with a loan, if I'm going to give you $500,000 to go buy a house, I need to make sure you can pay me back.
Mm-hmm.
I need to make sure you've been paying people back. And that's what it comes down to. There's really no age limit per se, but if you're 18, have you been working for a couple of years? If the answer is yes, I got you. If you're 18 and you have your own business, and we can see the numbers, see what you've been doing over the last year or 2 years, I got you. One other major element in buying that house is the down payment.
And that's what I was saying. If I came to you and showed you proof, hey, you know, whatever the case, I came into some money, I turned 18, this is my trust fund or whatever, I want to buy a house. You see the money's there in the bank on my part, but that's just not the whole thing. There's other steps besides having the funds.
So, yes and no.
Okay.
So I'll give you a real life example. 18-year-old has $200,000 in the bank, wants to buy a duplex. I can probably help that person get that duplex.
Okay.
There are as many types of loans as there are situations for those loans.
Wow.
So, believe it or not, there are loans that are based on just how much money you have in the bank. So, there's a complicated formula, but to simplify it, let's say you have a certain amount of money in the bank. I take that money and look at it, divide it over whatever the formula is for the type of property you want to buy, and that money in the bank might be good enough. Now, you have to have a good credit score, and when I say good, for that type of loan, you're probably 620 or higher.
Even with the hard cash?
Even with the hard cash. We need to make sure you can pay it back. So we want to see your track record. So we want to look at that credit. If you have the worst credit in the world and you have some money, if you don't have enough money to pay cash for the property, you need to come to somebody to get the money. The higher the risk to me, the more money, the more it's going to cost you. So, and there's only so much risk a broker or a bank is going to take because they want to get their money back.
Yeah, they want their loan back.
I'm gonna say this because you know, Junior and I, we are Southern Cal kids, so we're really LA County kids. So when you start looking at today, 2022, the prices of the homes that's in Long Beach, Compton, Watts, Inglewood, Los Angeles, Harbor City, Wilmington, Gardena,
Linwood.
Torrance, Linwood, Southgate. We're looking at, and in that Bass area, you know, Santa Monica, you know, around that way. That might be a little bit. Yeah, that's kind of like around up in those areas. What is the average going purchase rate of homes now these days in 2022, and the circumference of the area?
So you gave a big area. You're not going below 600 for the most part.
So when you say 600,
600,000.
$600,000 in cash.
And that's, if you find that house, you're doing good. So all the areas you mentioned, houses are expensive. Now,
2 bedrooms don't matter. You know, of course, anything over 2 is gonna be.
it matters,
Yeah.
but it's just expensive right now.
Okay, so a lot of people I know that purchase homes in the last 10, 11, 12 months. A lot of them came with a lot of cash. It became this thing to turn to use a bidding war. But other people were bringing heavy bags of cash, so a little $17,000, $10,000 ain't getting it no more.
No, it's not.
Yeah. So why is that you know of from your dealings? Not that you create the problem or not, but just
I'm trying to solve the problem.
oh, okay.
So you have more people that want to buy houses than there are houses. Supply and demand.
Oh.
I got what you want, and all of you want it. So I'm gonna let you guys bid that price up. That's it. Supply and demand.
That's basically what it is.
That's all it is. Supply and demand. Not enough houses to go around for the people that want to buy houses.
Well, because I know a lot of individuals now have moved farther out of Los Angeles County.
Yep.
Being Riverside, San Bernardino, and then that in those areas, and out to Lancaster and Palmdale, purchasing property, homes. Even so, those are renting. I noticed that with the rent for a 2-bedroom in this area is the same price a month that you would pay for your people who just got new mortgages.
Ooh.
So the mortgages is averaging from my own little data and research, when people are talking, it averages from $25,000 to $3,000 a month when they first get the home. And as time goes on, as the months pass by, you can it'll drop when you refinance it. So that's the same amount what rent is now for 1 bedrooms and 2 bedrooms.
Yeah.
And what that means is, if you're paying that much in rent, what's the likelihood that you're going to be able to save the money to get in a house? It's exactly. So the key is to get in a house as soon as you can.
Yes, sir.
Sounds, the prices are high, interest rates are going up, but you got to find a way to get in there. What I suggest to a lot of people is, yeah, you want that big house on the hill that costs $800,000, $1 million, and maybe you can't get that right now, but you might be able to get a duplex. And now when you're looking at a duplex or a triplex or a fourplex, yeah, it's gonna cost, but you got
no payoff.
1, 2, or 3 other people helping you pay that mortgage.
It's different.
You get in there, you work it, and after a while, you're ready to move on to the next one. You move out of your unit, you rent that out, now you're ready to get into a house.
Correct. So
Just processing yourself.
Processing yourself.
now, I want to say this: as far as a lot of people who working people, those areas I spoke of earlier, a lot of those people work drive an hour and a half or hour in, and maybe an hour and a half or an hour or 2 hours going back home each and every day. So you might live X amount of miles away, but you don't, where you live is not where you make money at. So I personally, at this time, I need to be down where I make money at. So it was a conflict to me, and other mitigating factors involved as well. Having less knowledge on how the real estate game goes, and how much I need to come up with, and how far I need my score to be. I, found out. So what I'm saying is, a lot of people living that far but making money down this way.
Right.
Is that? Ain't that uneven? Ain't that
It's more uneven now than it was a few months ago. Now the gas is up to
Oh,
$5 or $6. I mean, they might have been saving some money, but are they really saving now?
Yeah,
Now they're on the road and spending that gas money. So you got to balance it out.
It sucks.
It's ugly.
It's ugly.
It's vicious out here, for real. Not for play, but for real. Hey, listen, being a grown, mature, play by the rule person, yeah, it's challenging, boy. You got down to the beans and rice.
Yeah, it's a challenge.
Also, I wanted to mention about older people, older senior citizens. What is the status with the senior citizens as far as purchasing homes and other things that I heard that the older people, like senior citizens, are better to deal with?
Well, like I said, there's a mortgage just about for a type of mortgage for every situation out there. Mm-hmm. So seniors have some benefits that younger people don't. So there's a mortgage called a reverse mortgage. And a reverse mortgage is called a reverse mortgage because instead of making payments every month on the mortgage, the payments are paid at the end when you leave the house. So a regular mortgage is called a forward mortgage. Nobody calls it that, they just call it a mortgage. But there's a forward mortgage and there's a reverse mortgage. On a forward mortgage, you make payments every month. On a reverse mortgage, you don't make payments until you leave the house. So what that means for seniors, you got a lot of seniors out there who are struggling and don't know about a reverse mortgage. They have a house that they paid on for 30 years. They might not even owe any money, but they're living on Social Security, which is not enough for them to do what they need to do. With a reverse mortgage, a mortgage broker will go in, get an appraiser, find out how much the house is worth, and based on their age, and it's a technical formula, but based on the age will determine how much money they can get on that mortgage. So they can get a mortgage for a certain percentage of what their equity is, which means they can get a lump sum of money, or if they need money to supplement their income, they can get money every month.
What is equity? It's for the viewers.
Equity.
The equity. Can you describe what equity is to the viewers and the listeners, those who don't know?
Yes, equity is the difference between what the value of your house is and how much you owe on your house. If you don't owe anything and your house is worth $500,000, you have $500,000 worth of equity. Let's say you owe $250,000 on your mortgage and your house is worth $500,000, then you got $250,000 in equity. So I don't ever recommend that you use your house as a piggy bank. So you don't want to borrow money and go buy a car or do this or that. But if you're a senior citizen, you're living on Social Security and it's not enough, a reverse mortgage can mean the difference between living and struggling to live.
So if I can understand the reverse mortgage, you stay in it, but you're not paying rent or not paying the mortgage to the lender at that time. So you must be taking that money that you do have and putting it in like an escrow account where you put it away.
No.
You should know.
This is how it works.
Okay.
So let's take that $500,000 house. Let's say we have a senior citizen who paid their mortgage off years ago. So she doesn't owe any money on that house. Let's say she's 70 years old. She may be able to get 60% of that equity. So that would come out to about what, $300,000.
That's not bad.
So normally on a $300,000 loan, let's say your monthly payment would be somewhere around $1,700. You would make that $1,700 payment every month. Since she has a reverse mortgage, she's not making that $1,700 payment, but every month when that payment is due, that $1,700 gets added to what she owes. So she started out with $300,000. Every month that she doesn't make a payment, it goes up $1,700.
Oh.
She can stay in that house as long as she wants, and she will never have to make a payment. She'll have to pay her taxes and pay her insurance on her house, but she doesn't have to make any payments on that house.
It only if she moves out, then that's when.
If the senior passes away or moves out, then the loan needs to be paid off. And even then, the heirs, the people that she's arranged to give the house to, her family members or what have you, they have an option to either pay off the loan or sell the house to pay off the loan if they don't want the house. So, but the senior, who this is all for, gets to live a life where she can either get a lump sum or a lump sum and monthly payments or just monthly payments.
And you mentioned earlier in the interview that a lot of people in that situation don't know they have that option.
They don't know.
Why don't people send them that information, or they get a phone call and let them know? I mean, I'm sure, they could be told that.
They do.
Okay.
How many seniors do you know are going to talk to somebody when you make a phone call? It's hard. They're going to want to go to their family member and say, hey, I heard this, I heard that. And if the family member doesn't know, they can say, oh, that's not something you want to deal with.
So, and we
it's hard.
Living in a time in the era of 2022 where there's more game being spit than Mattel.
Yeah.
So you have to be conscientious of who you're listening to, what you're in, and who you're giving your information to. So yeah,
Especially if that person don't even own a home.
Right, exactly.
Right.
They're very conscientious about that now these days. So I got where you coming from. It's kind of hard with this bad news that's being put out there about this and that, and you know, it's really the water is mercury and the lines are blurry. So a lot of people are more cautious to not to do it, tend to do it or to listen to it.
There's a lot of info and programs and systems to help people either get a home, keep their home, or anything in that neighborhood.
The government spends a lot of money on it. A lot of money.
It's just sitting in that pot waiting for somebody to say, hey, I have this house, this is my situation, can you help? Well, give me your information. Sure, we can. This is what we have. This is fit. Like you said, this fits your situation. So let's go ahead and do. But nobody looks into that.
They don't know. They don't know what they don't know. So
it's hard to yeah.
For today, if you hadn't heard of a reverse mortgage, you don't know to go look for it.
Right. So
that's right.
when we have this show and we have this man telling you, if you in a situation with your house, there's somebody you can call besides a friend or a family member who may or may not know, but somebody who does this for a living can tell you these are your options.
Right. I tell people all the time. That.
Stop. What's going on?
Slip down.
Every day I wake for like my life on the line. Jungle in these streets, speak the beats are on the line. Hustle to increase, put it all on the line. House to spouse, family freedom, walking yards on the line. Every day on the line. Every day on the line. Every day,